Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I just wanted to first off say welcome to all my new subscribers and thank you for taking the time to hit that button. I hope that if you haven't yet, that you'll think about hitting the subscribe button and subscribing to my channel. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone for your kind messages on my last video. It means a lot to me, and I'm really glad that even one person could identify with what I was saying, or that I could even help one of you. That's the reason I make these videos, so thank you for that. But today I want to talk about the Nikkor-S 50mm f1.4 lens. It is my go-to lens for my Nikon F system. I've gotten several requests to review some of my Nikkor lenses that I use with my Nikon F, so I figured I'd start with the good old trustworthy 50mm f1.4. So just to give a little bit of history about this lens, it was made in the early 1960s, and it was so popular that it was made up until 1976, when they then added a multi-coating to it, which would add a little bit of contrast to your pictures. This version that I have here is an older version, and it has that amber coating on it, as you can see, that amber color, which that's what makes me love it. I believe you can use these lenses still today on a lot of the Nikon cameras, because they used the Nikon F mount for a very long time. I think you need an adapter if it's a pre-AI lens like this one. So the S in Nikkor-S in the title here is from one of the letters in the Greek alphabet, and it stands for the number 7, and it signifies how many elements are within the camera. And the word auto on the lens as well stands for automatic diaphragm, meaning that the diaphragm automatically opens and closes when you take a picture, whereas in older cameras and older lenses, you would have to open the lens up, compose your picture, close it back down to whatever aperture you were choosing, and then take the picture. But auto signified that you no longer needed to do that. It has a maximum aperture of 1.4, which is a really nice aperture and really nice wide open aperture, and a minimum one of f16. It has a minimum focusing distance of 2 feet, which is usually standard, and it weighs about 11 ounces. It's a little bit heavier than later lenses that were made with plastic, because this one's, I think, made of aluminum alloy. I'm not sure, but it's a little bit heavier. And I love it has that classic knurled focusing ring around it. That's one of my favorite features of the lens. So why is the 50mm f1.4 my favorite lens for the Nikon F, especially since I do like to use 35mm lenses? I think for me it is the character of the lens, but also it takes great photos. In my opinion, I love the portraits it takes when it's wide open. I love the blurred background it gives. There aren't large artifacts in the background that take away from the subject, as I've seen with some other wide open lenses. There's no fall off or vignetting that I've seen in my experience with my lens. The focus is smooth on it. It does have a long throw, so when I'm focusing with it, I have to do it twice if I want to go from one end to the other on the lens. That's about my only complaint with it, but the aperture clicks nicely to each stop. This lens does get some bad commentary on it because, you know, there are obviously going to be more improved, nicer lenses out there that were made later on. But for me, shooting with a vintage camera like the Nikon F, which is actually my favorite camera, it's all about the experience. And adding a new lens to this camera, for me, it just kind of ruins the experience, if that makes sense. So I have to pair it with a vintage lens. And for me, the Nikkor 50mm f1.4 is perfectly capable. I don't see myself buying a more modern lens at any point in the future, if at all. So if you're looking for a nice prime vintage lens for your Nikon F mount camera, I highly recommend this one. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say. I let my pictures speak more for the lens itself than just my words and my specs. So I'll leave you with some more pictures. But if you like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments. I can review more lenses that I have. I do have quite a few lenses for my Nikon F. If you want me to review the Nikon F again, or the Photomic meter, or any parts of the Nikon F system, let me know. Also, if you like these kinds of things, you might actually enjoy my website as well. I'll leave a link down below. It's alliesvintagecameraalley.com, but I do post a lot more on there than I do on here because words come easier to me in writing than they do sitting here in front of a camera talking to the camera. So maybe consider going and subscribing to that as well, because I do post my experiments with film and my developing adventures and all those things over there. So if you like that kind of thing, maybe head over there. But if not, either way, I'm glad you have made it to this point in the video. I don't think many people do, so thank you. Please, again, think about hitting that subscribe button and that thumbs up so that I know you've enjoyed this video. And of course, until next time, stay motivated and keep shooting.